seems to be this running joke on my videos where you look up and my calendar there still says August despite the fact that we're in the first week of September. Where did this year go? Like, wow, where did the time go? It seems like just yesterday Asia got this job at this physical therapy place and she was so happy. Like, wow. Where does the time go? It's weird. I am I don't know where I am. I'm in a weird place. If you watch Asia's videos, she's talking about faith and belief and religion, and there's just no room in my life for it. Like, I understand that not knowing a thing can be scary, but I don't want to fill in the blank with, oh, because I don't know, clearly this must be, God's doing, or God has a plan. Like, this is the crappiest plan I've ever seen. Like, everything just seems to be happening at random. Like, there's no karma. Like, there are kids being raped in churches. Like, there are natural disasters and people starving. Like, this is the plan? Like, this is what you came up with? Like, so no, I don't feel as though there's any room in my life for religion. Now, don't get me wrong. If if a god of some kind were to make himself known to me, I would have no problem acknowledging it, that in fact you were a god of some kind, but it would take quite a bit. And see, and here's the thing, while I don't know what it would take for me to consider you a god, because you could come down here and make water into wine, but that's a parlor trick. You could come and you could part the Red Sea, but that could be wind currents. I don't know. So while I don't know what it would take for you to convince me that there was a god, he does. He knows. If he's up there, he has absolutely exactly the right thing in mind to sway me. We go, oh wow, wow, I guess so. But even with that being the case, you could sway me, and I could be aware of your existence and still choose not to follow you, because I do not agree with eternal punishment for finite crimes. As a parent of a 21-year-old, mind you, I can't imagine anything that he could do or say that would require me to not only punish him, but torture him for all eternity. Like, he's not going to learn anything from that. I'm not going to be a better person as a result. Like, it's just torture forever. No thanks. No thanks. So no, I don't subscribe to any faith that says that I can be tortured for the crime of not believing in you. And I like to think that I would be the kind of person whom at the very end, like, I'm sure that everybody knows at the moment your life is about to come to an end. I think people know. I think it instinctively comes to you, yep, this is it. I would like to think that in that moment, I could still be me. That I would come face to face with some sort of being that created the whole universe. Like, I imagine somehow standing at a gate, and I've been in this long line outside this pearly gate, and you walk up and there's a dude standing behind a podium, and he's flipping through the book of my life, and he goes, Patrick Harris, now you will be judged. And he's standing there and he reads to me like every time I lied, or every time I stole something, or every time I masturbated, or every time I cursed. And he was like, I now sentence you to blah 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 blah. And I like to think that in that moment, that when I realize, like, I could still be me. Like, if that dude, whoever he is, was just like, yep, you're going to hell. I, like, I would like to think that when he said that and he would say any last words, and I could just be like, yeah, and have something witty and sarcastic to say, like whatever would be appropriate. Like, I'm not gonna give the dude the finger, but also like, what do I have to lose at that point? Like, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm wrong and you're going to torture me forever for the crime of not believing because you didn't provide me with evidence, then fuck you anyway. Like, that's not somewhere I want to be. So I like to think that I could still be me and I wouldn't have a last minute conversion. Like they say, there are no atheists in foxholes. Like, I like to think that I would still be me and I'd be like, all right, Abraham or Noah, whoever the fuck you are, do your worst. Do what you gotta do. Because I'm still under the impression that, like, there are just so many things about it that don't make sense to me. Like, I'm going to be tortured forever. Like, at some point, the nerve endings will burn off and I won't feel flames. You know, like, at some point, like, I mean, so you telling me that he'll take the time to heal my nerve endings so that I can be tortured forever in hell, but the same effort couldn't be done to relieve suffering on Earth right now? Yeah, it's like, yeah, and if my soul's this incorporeal thing, how do you burn a spirit? And if it's really just separation from God, I can't think of a better place that I'd want to be. Because if it's the dude that I've been reading about in this book, you can keep that shit. Like, everybody I know is on the short yellow bus to hell, so I just want to be where all my people at. I just want to do hood rat stuff with my friends. Like, I'm totally fucking fine with that. So, my wife was wrestling this evening with the notion that somebody that we care for a great deal was having issues or struggling with their religion, and she was doing her best to understand that. And I can respect the person and think highly of the person, and at the same time not give a shit about the religion of it all. I have quite a few friends who are religious, and that doesn't affect what I think of them. And it's funny that I say that because honestly, Asia did her video. She was like, hey, I'm going to go to the bathroom. I was like, oh, I'll knock out my video real quick. I didn't mean to make this like a whole thing. But now that I'm thinking about it, I have a friend. And I won't say names because I'm doing that thing where you say you don't say names and you say their name. No, I'm actually not going to say the name this time. I have a friend whom we have a difference of opinion when it comes to religion and the state of affairs. And typically, it's the religious people, it's Christians who are just like, oh, get behind me, Satan. I can't associate with people who are of the devil or whatever the fuck they say. And I'm not going to cut people out of my life because we believe different things. But I find that having conversations with this person on this topic is exhausting. It's just exhausting. Like, all I hear are these bold assertions and claims of conspiracy, but you can offer me no alternative. And I'm not necessarily looking for an alternative, but I'm not so hard pressed to feel like I belong to something that I'm just gonna side with a conspiracy. Like, there's no way in hell that every leading scientist in the known world is just lying about religion, is just lying about the origins of the universe to further their agenda. On the contrary, au contraire, mon frere, any scientist who could overturn evolution would be just ridiculously famous, ridiculously wealthy. Churches would flock behind this man because he can prove creation. Like, the bulk of human understanding contradicts this book that you're holding up. So you'll use cell phones and cars and airplanes and internet and TV, all these things, of course, run on science. But when it comes to the things that you like, you can't bring yourself to accept it. There's a conspiracy? Like, really? Like, is it so important to you to believe what you believe that you would make the entire world wrong so that you can cling to this? Like, and it's so weird because if somebody were to come to me and say, I don't think Asia loves you, I'm not really listening. I don't really care because there's Asia right there. I can ask her if she loves me. She's going to say yes. We're going to do it and we're going to hold hands and kiss. Don't. Wow. You ain't had enough yet? That was an example. You nasty girl. My wife's a nasty girl. Like, I was there at the wedding. She professed her love to me. I could ask her right now, do you love? Now, I guess technically she could be lying, but like, why? Why though? Why though? And if you was like, I have a video where it proves bar none that Asia doesn't love you, like, I'd be willing to watch it, but I wouldn't think nothing of it. Like, because at the end, I would just ask her, is this how you feel? Did you feel that way when you recorded it? Do you feel that way now? And if she goes, no, I still love you. Fuck that video. But when you talk about, I'm going to ignore the evidence, and I'm going to say that radiometric dating doesn't work because radiometric dating is not the correct method to determine the age of anything. So it must be wrong. Or science is always changing, so it must be wrong. It's like, no, we refine our methods. We come up with better ways to do things. And I enjoy that my life is not full of assertions. It's like, this book said that I'm supposed to do this, so that's what I do. That's just not who I am. It's just not. Like, I do the things that I'm going to do. And like I said, if I get to the fucking gates and Abraham is like, child, we tried to tell you. Look, dude, if everything happens according to God's plan, God planned for me to not believe you. So this is really kind of your fault, right? Like, if nothing happens in the world according to God that's not God's plan, who the hell am I to throw it off? You know, like, for real? And then if his plan is so easily thwarted by an anti-theist who just decided not to believe, how weak are you that somebody who don't even think you there could fuck with your whole agenda? Like, no thanks. No thanks. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. Like, there are some things, like, there was a time when I was not 100% convinced that we had landed on the moon. I'd seen a video and there was some compelling evidence there. And I was like, wow, I guess, could be. That sounds a little weird. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized that that doesn't impact my life on a daily basis whatsoever. Whether or not Neil Armstrong and every astronaut in existence they're just in on this elaborate hoax. Like, I don't know what the fuck NASA's trying to do, lying to us, but you know, whatever. But that don't impact my life because Neil Armstrong ain't asking me for money. You know, Buzz Aldrin ain't telling me how I should be living my life and issuing commandments. So means nothing to me. If we went there, cool. If we didn't, that's also cool. What the fuck ever. I know it's satellites in orbit because cell phones work. You know, like, I know that shit works because, like, I could turn on my TV and, like, everything's fucking there. Like, science fucking works. And it's not, I don't need bold assertions. You know, I hate to sound like I'm stealing somebody else's shit, but at the end of the day, it's the truth. I want to believe as many true things as possible and as few false things as possible. And if you can bring something to my attention that goes, well, that doesn't make sense, you shouldn't, I have no problem abandoning that. Or if you hit me with something and I go, wow, I guess I had never really thought of it that way. I guess I should adjust my way of thinking. That comes from a rational, open-minded person. Because people who can't change their minds about things, that's called closed-minded. That's called arrogance. And I have no problem being wrong if you can prove me wrong. Like, I'm telling you, God knows exactly what it would take for me to believe right now. And just because I believe wouldn't mean I followed. So that's that. My I don't have faith. Faith is, what is it? The substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things unseen, or some shit like that. Like, I don't have to have faith in the sun coming up in the morning because it's come up every day of my life, and it's a reasonable assertion that it will in the morning. It might not. There could be a catastrophic fucking event tomorrow and it not come up. Okay, but if there's not if there's no position that I can't take on faith, then faith can't lead me to the truth. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm in pursuit of truth. Like, how so? Wow. There's no position that you can't take on faith, and faith is not reliable to lead you to the truth.
There's no position that you can't
like, I could take that there are unicorns on faith.
Or are you saying there's no position that you can take?
No, that I can't take. I can say that Sasquatch does the dishes at IHOP.
Okay.
And I have faith in that.
So you're saying you can take any position of faith.
Any position.
But faith cannot lead you to truth.
No, faith is like, if I can take the position that fucking there are magical pixies that steal Tupperware lids, like, I can have faith in that, but if there's nothing that substantiates or supports it, it's like, there could be. There could be, out of the blue, magically, there really are Tupperware lid stealing fairies.
It's not about that.
But what is it about? Please, because, I don't want to believe wrong things.
Faith can absolutely lead you to truth.
I mean, you could get lucky and have faith in something that's true.
It's not about getting lucky.
But
it's not about you're mixing the two. Just because you have faith in homies being able to do dishes doesn't mean that that's the truth.
Okay.
The faith in that can lead you to the truth. For instance, I was a Christian for 17, 18 years of my life.
Okay.
And that particular faith led me to what I hold true now.
Okay.
Because in having that, I was introduced to something else that was some sort of middle ground, but still use my faith to lead me to what it is I believe now that does not require faith. So faith was required in order for me to ease into what I have now. Sometimes it's hard for people to just go from a faith structure simply too fast.
Oh yeah, it's the kind of thing, like, a lot of people can't just stop cold turkey. And I get that.
So faith can absolutely lead you to truth. Doesn't mean that the thing you have faith in is the truth, but it can lead you to the truth.
Okay. Like, so if we're revising our statement, that you can have faith in things that aren't true, but faith, if invested correctly, can lead to truth. How's that?
I guess. But also, I don't like the idea of making it seem like having faith is a bad thing, or that faith and truth cannot be linked. It's the assumption that faith is linked to some sort of organized religion, but faith isn't always connected to an organized religion.
Well, okay.
You can have faith in other things, or just something, or even an idea. So, faith is not bad. What you have faith in is the question.
I'll accept that, because just because you have faith in it don't make it true. But just because it's true don't mean you have faith in it. But you don't need to have faith in truth, because truth is truth regardless to who believes it. Like, I don't have faith that you love me. I don't have hope that you love me. You just do. Mm-hmm. You do until you do. And I could have faith that, I could have faith in anything, really, but that don't mean it's right. I could have faith that smoking cigarettes will help me lose weight and make my...
But also believing in something doesn't make it right either.
No, believing it doesn't make it true either, but that's why I try to have as many true things in my life as possible.
Okay, but what do you define as true? Because now you're saying that everything that is true has to have some sort of evidence. But if you just said that you don't have like what's true is true whether you are aware of it or not.
Okay.
You don't necessarily have to. What am I saying? If something is true, it's true. If you have faith in it or you don't have faith in it, it's true.
Okay.
So, if there are things that you don't know, they're still true. You don't have any evidence for these things. You might not even be aware that these things exist. So, if for whatever reason you have a theory or an idea, or if you will, faith in an idea, maybe it's true, maybe it's not true, but the things in your life, the things that you know, the things that you believe, not all of them have evidence, at least the kind of scientific evidence that you refer to.
Okay, see, I'm not really I'm not looking to discuss evidence. Like, I'm not interested in evidence. I'm more looking for things that comport with reality.
Okay.
Like a thing. Here's a thing that happens to me. Mm-hmm. Like, if I say, "Hey, across the room there, I think I see a $20 bill on the floor." Okay. Now, if you see it too, then it's rational to assume that there actually is a $20 bill there. Mm-hmm. But if you don't see it, and then we go get Kari, and he goes, "Nope, there's nothing there," and then we go grab one of the neighbors, and they don't see it, well, clearly, it's me.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. But this evening, I came to you, and I said, "Hey, his name is Steven, and not Nathan." And you said, and I said, "That's weird, because it was Nathan for me." And you say, "Well, no, it's always been Steven for me." And then everybody says, "Yeah, it's always been Steven." Am I wrong or am I right?
That's weird, because when we're discussing something like that, you used to be right, but now things are different.
How do you know? How do you know that I used to be right? How do you know that things are different? How do you know I'm not just making it up?
You could be. You very well could be. I mean, I don't see
would you say you have faith that I wouldn't make up something like that?
I have a reasonable confidence that you would never purposely mislead me.
Okay. But you don't know that for a fact.
I know. See, but you're talking about just degrees of certainty, and I don't. I don't protest to having anything as a 100% degree of certainty.
And what we accept as reality and what can be proven. While I believe everything at the end of the day it comes down to science, not everything can be explained through traditional ways.
Yeah, like, and I'm fine with that. I'm 100% fine with that.
Oh, your stance is usually like, "Oh, this can be demonstrated," or "This is something that happens every day, so it's reasonable to assume that it's going to happen again." And while that makes complete sense, that can't always be the argument for everything, especially for some of the things that we experience.
Like,
if everything is always changing and new things are always happening, it can be really hard to keep up and say, "Oh, this is evidence for this." Sometimes it's a matter of going with the flow and saying, "I don't know, but for you it's real." So sometimes that's enough. It's a personal truth thing, which is why my biggest issue when it comes to religion or just anything that people believe in is not the fact that you believe something that I don't believe in seems weird. It's the fact that you want to use it as absolute truth and pawn it on other people.
That is absolutely, and I'm glad you said that, because that was my problem. And that is the only regard where I have no problem with a personal truth. You can believe right now that Mary J. Blige is going to come in here and tuck you in and sing you a song and, serenade you to bed.
Sure hope not.
Well, yeah, I could pick anybody else, really, but, just randomly speaking. Like, you could believe that all you wanted, but if you were to say, now, because of this, I'm going to charge people $20 a ticket to see Mary J. Blige sing to me, but only if you believe, that's a problem. If you have a personal truth that you hold dear to yourself, quietly, privately, and that's your thing, then that's your thing. But when you are trying to convince others that this is the way they need to lead their lives, I need more than your personal experience. I need more than you saying, "Well, this is how I feel," or "God came to me." The creator of all fucking things can only appear to me in toast. Like, no, I don't subscribe to that at all.
But while you don't subscribe to it, maybe he did appear to them in toast. But the thing is, if there is a creator, as I heard you saying earlier in your video, he knows exactly what to say or do to lead you to him.
Absolutely.
And if that is the case, then that would mean that the experience almost has to be different for everyone. And if the experience is different for everyone, then there's no way to ever prove any of these things to anyone. It has to be a case-by-case basis. It has to be a personal truth. It has to be a personalized path or journey per person.
And if that's the case, then shouldn't he get on it? Because you can't... I could say right now, I just had a personal experience with Jesus, and Jesus told me to tell you, give me 10% of your money. That's not enough.
What do you mean?
That's not enough. Like, your personal experience was enough for you. Who is that who had the Damascus Road experience? Is it David? I'm not as familiar with my Bible as I used to be, where he met him on the side of a road or some shit. Like, that's not enough for me. Your personal experience where God came to you and expressed it to you is not enough for me.
Well, it shouldn't even be in question on if it's enough for you or not, because it shouldn't be presented to you as some sort of evidence, because it's never going to be considered evidence.
And it shouldn't be considered evidence, but that's the problem. People are having these experiences, and then they say, all right, now let's enact some laws that make this the truth.
And
that's a problem for me.
At the same time, coming from the perspective of, say, an atheist, when that is brought to their attention and they say, that's not evidence, give me evidence, you're asking for something that I cannot be given. It's not a matter of if it's true or not. It's just, it will never be considered evidence. If a guy calls in and said, I'm a psychic and God showed me that such and such was going to happen, well, maybe that is absolutely true, but there's no way to prove that to someone who isn't that person. So to ask for proof of that or ask for some sort of evidence is always going to lead to nothing, because there's no way to prove these things.
See, and that bothers me. And wow, this video is almost 28 minutes long, and I'm going to make this point and then I'm going to go massage my wife because she needs it. Therein lies my problem with religion, because God has been relegated to and demoted and pushed back to, well, you can't say he's not there, so therefore he might be. It's like, if I was all-knowing, all-seeing, all-powerful, knew everything that was gonna happen before it fucking happened, there would be no doubt in anybody's mind who I was. The fact that people can say, do you believe? Or the fact that people say, I have faith in. If this dude was the creator of every fucking thing and he wanted me to know, there'd be no question.
But that's the thing. If we're talking about, for instance, the Christian God, there has never been, at least to my knowledge, and maybe I'm wrong because I am no longer a Christian, so it's not like I study the Bible, but from the years of experience that I have, I cannot recall not one time in the Bible or any personal experience that I've heard of where God has appeared at all.
Oh, let me help you out. God comes down and actually has dinner with some dude. He knocks on the door and there's two angels and they wrestle in the front yard. God came down and helped the dude in a battle, but they lost because the other guys had iron chariots, and apparently God can't stop iron, even in his own book. So yes, there have been instances where God comes down, even though the Bible says they don't do that. You can't see God and live, but then later on, he's down there having dinner with somebody under the moonlight or some shit. So there are 100 contradictions to that. But what I'm trying to say is that if it was legit, there'd be no question. If it was 100%, there would be no doubt in anybody's mind. Everybody would be on board with this across the board, regardless of if you believed him or not, if you accepted it or not. You would know it was him. And that's just not the case, because there are 1,400 different denominations of just Christianity. You've got the Second Baptist Church and the Third Baptist Church. And you've got the Lutheran Church and the non-denominational church. And the ones, there are just too many different sects. And nobody knows for sure. And isn't it weird that nobody can tend to agree on what it is we should be doing, but everybody wants to tell you what to do? Like, look, this video has gone on for 30 minutes. This was not my intention at all. I'm supposed to be rubbing my wife and making her feel better. So I'm going to wrap this up for y'all. And I don't want to talk about religion with people no more. I need to let that go.